In 1940, our nation was fighting for its life. Hitler's Germany was determined to invade our islands. And all that stood in the way were the men and women of Britain. Now a team of experts across France and Britain are uncovering fresh evidence of their incredible struggle. We're going to dig up secrets buried for 70 years, to reveal stories of heroism from Britain's most perilous year. In the summer of 1940, the public had looked up and watched Spitfires and Hurricanes winning the Battle of Britain. But now their eyes turned skyward again, towards an even greater menace. In the autumn of 1940, German bombers like this Ju-88 were becoming an increasingly common sight in the skies above Britain. Hitler's plan was simple: fill the air with thousands of planes just like this at the head of a relentless bombing campaign, the idea to break the morale and spirit of the British people. So for the next 9 months, our towns and our cities would become the front line. The first major raid was directed against London on September the 7th, 1940. The Blitz had begun. With winter closing in, Hitler postponed his invasion plans and instead turned his attention to crippling Britain's war effort with an aerial bombing campaign. Over the next 9 months, the Luftwaffe, Hitler's air force, would target every major city in the British Isles.
Right, so where do you think it is, Chris?
Over there, hopefully.
Just over there, is it?
70 years on, and our aviation archaeologists Gareth Jones and Steve Vizard are on the hunt for a German bomber shot down during a raid on Bristol.
Probably about 20 odd feet down.
Bristol was a prime target for German bombers during the Blitz.
More likely to be the centre.
The crashed aircraft our team are looking for was part of a nighttime raid on the city's docks.
I think it's take your pick, really, and there's such a scattering of parts.
Steve's looking for proof that they're in the right place, and he doesn't have long to wait.
I expect, yeah, hydraulic pipe.
Yeah, it's a pipe coupling, and if you clean that off, it will say Argus somewhere around there.
Well, this is what it's all about, a great big Heinkel 111 bomber. This, of course, is what our team are looking for down in Somerset. Now, ours was shot down by a night fighter. It came down from several thousand feet and hit the ground with such force that a lot of the softer parts of the aircraft will be pretty mangled, some of them probably unrecognisable. What we are all secretly hoping for is a glimpse of one or both of these, the great Jumo engines that powered it.
The Heinkel 111 was the most common German bomber used in the Blitz, but now there are only a handful left, all of them in museums.
And it's the fact that these aircraft are so rare that, for me, goes to the heart of why our dig in Somerset can offer such tantalising possibilities. In short, whatever we can find will be a bonus.
OK, thanks for all coming. The dig we've got organised today, obviously a Heinkel, shot down by a bow fighter, 15,000 feet, gone into very soft ground. And one of the things you've got to watch out for, obviously got quite a big machine today, so we need to keep out the swing of the bucket.
Everybody keep an eye open, because the hole could just start to cavitate very, very quickly, just like that, and the sides could go.
Because the ground here is so soft, the team fear that the Heinkel engines might have gone in 20 feet or deeper. We're having to use a massive digger to stand any chance of finding them at all. But in terms of what we're hoping to recover, I mean, it's an injured aircraft, it's on fire, it's plummeting towards the ground at, what, 200 miles an hour?
At least, yeah.
At least. So all the really heavy items, the engines in particular, I suppose, we're hoping that they have been thrust down into the base of the hull.
Yeah, they would be. The engines, undercarriage, anything sort of heavy, obviously, has that momentum which will hit the ground, penetrate and go on deep.
Yeah.
And then we hope, obviously, that that, in turn, has sort of dragged some of the fuselage down with it.
Gareth, we think we're onto something fairly big.
Tell you what, you start to smell it as well. You smell the
fuel. Yeah. God, you can smell it, can't you?
Yeah.
The digger bucket has struck something heavy, and we're barely 4 feet down.
Yeah, that prop blade. There's a prop blade here.
Oh, look at that.
curled right over.
Gareth, you must be a very happy man at this point.
Yeah, it's not often you get to find sort of German bombers.
Mind you, that's really curled over. It's really, really sharp there.
That is...
You can see it was obviously going and hit the ground, because you can see the base buckled round, so obviously this engine was going, so
that's just smashed into the ground. Okay.
Look at the condition of that.
I mean, what strikes me about this, guys, is, you know, I mean, OK, it's twisted and bent, but, I mean, it's almost as good as the day it was made in some respects, isn't it? The paint's on it. I mean, this stuff here, was this aluminium?
It's aluminium, yeah, aluminium prop, yeah. We think when it hit the ground, the engine was actually running.
So this was still turning as the aircraft hit?
Yeah, it was under power and sort of corkscrewed this and bent the blade around.
So in a split second, hard to imagine, really, but it's spinning around at goodness knows how many RPM, hits the ground, comes to a grinding halt, the engine itself effectively just explodes.
The engine's still trying to run.
Yeah.
So the pistons are still going up and down.
Yeah.
But it's stopped at that instance and the thing just explodes.
Our Heinkel was shot down during a nighttime raid on nearby Bristol. In the autumn of 1940, mounting losses had forced the Luftwaffe to abandon daylight bombing. Although flying at night reduced their losses, the Germans were still vulnerable to the RAF's night fighters. It was one such night fighter ace, Edward Crewe, who shot down our Heinkel.
Well, the Heinkel was carrying a selection of bombs that evening, and it was carrying one big high explosive bomb, and all down the starboard side of the aircraft it had canisters of incendiary bombs, which were these little 1 kilo bombs which the Germans dropped literally thousands and thousands and thousands during the war in all the major British cities.
Incendiary bombs were designed to lodge in roofs and set fire to buildings. They caused the devastating firestorms that spread terror across the country during the Blitz. We're over 10 feet down in the search for our German bomber from the Blitz on Bristol.
Crunch, crunch. It's more than just the engine down there, though, isn't it? Look.
Close to the twisted propeller is wreckage of the engine we think was still running when the bomber hit the ground.
Wow.
But it's very badly smashed. That looks like what we were looking for.
Well, it's about a third of one.
A third of one.
Yeah, it's about a third of one.
Yeah.
Which is, again...
This is very frustrating for Steve and the team, as so little of the engine remains. So that would have just smashed all the gearing to pieces. Towards the end of 1940, the German raids increased in size and ferocity. Attacks of over 100 bombers were common, but Britain was not totally unprepared. It was here in a London suburb, in a top-secret bunker, that the RAF coordinated their defence against German raids. I'm meeting historian Andy Saunders. Standing in this room, which is a huge treat, I mean, it's a rare survivor.
This room was absolutely vital to being able to understand where the Germans were, what the Germans were doing, and to husband their own forces.
Now, it all looks quite complex, but also slightly Heath Robinson, Andy.
Yeah.
How did it work?
The radar stations would have been picking up the raids over the French coast and over the Channel, and they would be estimating the numbers and the track of those raids as they came in. When they crossed the coast, it was then being picked up by the Observer Corps.
30 enemy aircraft over the Channel, flying due west.
And all that information from the radar stations and from the Observer Corps is being filtered into here, and so that the controller can actually see the whole picture.
Just talk me through the process.
Right, well, when the information was translated down to the table here, the WAF plotters moved these little blocks around the table, and the blocks are all marked. These are hostile raids, H for hostile, and that would be the number of the raid. So we've got HO4,
right.
50 plus, that's 50 plus German aircraft on that particular raid on that track coming in towards Dover.
Well, you look at the numbers on the hostile side of the board. We've got 40 plus here, 50 plus there, 50 plus, 30, 30. It's a pretty daunting prospect. I mean, how long would it take a German raid to cross the Channel?
Well, at the narrowest point here, it's a matter of minutes, so it was clearly vital that all the information that they could suck into this nerve centre was brought in and analysed and reacted upon very, very quickly.